Do you have like a segue or a bit to start the show?
No.
Me neither. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Pit Against the Live Flexible Colin Show. I'm Blue Table and Legs, and I'm joined by my constant co-host Kevin Smurph Murphy. Kevin, what's up? It's not funny.
Sup?
That's not funny. There's nothing there.
Nope.
Pit Against is a live call-in show. If you'd like to be live on air talking to us about your take, join the Pit Against Discord. That's in the link in the description. Then join the waiting room channel. Put your hot take in the topics section. If we like your take, we'll pull you on air for a mic check. We'll put you on for a mic check and then bring you on air. You can also just put the takes in the topics text channel, in the stream chat, in the comments. I'll talk about it. And another place you can put them is on Bluesky. Every Thursday, I'm probably going to try to remember to make a post where I'm like, please give me something to talk about today. And I made the post early enough, gave people plenty of room to talk. And they did. Kevin, in lieu of what looks like guests for this evening, I'm going to give you the burden of bringing up Twitter and saying the names of the takes.
Oh, God.
It'd be easier on the computer, too, the streaming.
Yeah. Okay, I got it.
This is great. I get Kevin to read the takes. I get Kevin to explain the takes. I get Kevin to answer the takes. I just get to sit here and listen. I get to enjoy.
I didn't see this one before. Holy.
Oh shoot! Are we gonna go in just order? Like, is there an order to this or?
The order that I just pulled it up in? Sure.
That works.
I guess so. Jesse Harper has said this many times to us before. Spectra is a good mechanic.
I mean, no,
but so the example that I think is always funny is asking people, would Burn Them All have been a better card if it had Spectra on it?
No.
You sure? You don't want to hit that before it deals you 7 damage?
No, I don't. I mean, yes. I mean, hold on a second.
That's the example I think Jesse always gives, and
okay,
it's always interesting.
So,
I don't think Spectra is overall good for the game.
I think it depends on the class. No, it doesn't. You just no. I take it all back. You just hit it. I don't care. Yeah, you just hit that. Is it better with Spectra? Yeah, you just hit it. Okay, so here's how I'll view it, which is Illusionist kind of lives on two dynamics of we hit big phantasm attacks at the wide decks and we make auras at the tall decks, and you have to have a way for these auras to be interactable for the wide decks.
Yep.
Technically interactable for the tall decks. And Spectra is a way you can do that. And it fulfills that role. It could also just be fulfilled in a different way.
Yes. Which I think Spectra actually might be healthier for the game than Ward.
I think if they took Ward and they dialed it back about a peg or two, it might be. So I think so. Ward has a lever to it, whereas
in the way
Spectra
Enigma used
right?
it.
Yeah, in the way that
Spectra is very binary of it has Spectra or it doesn't, and then Ward is it has a Ward amount, and that's much healthier for the game and that's not necessarily healthier. That's a different way they can make Illusionist. I don't actually know that it's healthier inherently, but
yeah, it's weird, right? So Illusionist lives in a weird state where it's like kind of just a control class in the sense where you're like manipulating how your opponent can interact with the game, but also that needs counters. Not necessarily counters. It needs ways to be handled with, which often leads to, because of the way that it just interacts, like all these mechanics just end up being, they kind of have hard counters, right? If you can just throw a Tiger at the end of the combat chain had a Spectra card. Spectra cards aren't that great. If you just happen to have a whole deck of 6s, Phantasm's not that great. So they have their pros and cons, but their pros and cons are like so wildly like polarizing, lopsided. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is Spectra good? I'm gonna say no. Is it?
I think it was fine for their first draft.
Yeah.
Of where they made Illusionist. I will accept it.
I think a funny way to ask this question is at LSS devs. Those are the people to ask those kind of questions to, because I think their answers are maybe more nuanced than ours, but also just kind of funny almost in the sense that they look back at it, especially if they worked on that.
I think it's also just telling that we haven't gotten a Spectra Aura since Everfest.
Do we not get one? We can leave them back there. We got enough Spectra to like last for a few years, right? Like,
oh yeah,
we're good.
Yep.
If they wanted to drop Spectra completely, you could just ban like 3 cards and not print a Illusionist.
I think they could probably ban like 1 card and Spectra would kind of disappear.
I don't even think they need to do that. I think you can. I don't think they're super debilitating for game design on the classes either.
I mean, they limit what you can do with auras, right? Because if you want auras to be weapons, then you need to be worried about Spectra being weapons again.
But also, I think they would just... It is interesting because I think about how we had Dromize that played Iris of Reality and they were hitting people with Burn Them All.
They were a very different build, but yes, that was a thing.
Yeah. But like, you just build the Attack with Auras deck differently. I guess Enigma kind of did that, right? She just attacked with Ward Auras. And it was very, very plain. Also, they could just make a weapon that's like attacking, target non-Spectra auras are weapons.
Yeah, they can be blatant about it.
Yeah, you can just be like straight up like, nah, we're not doing that anymore.
Well, I mean, that was Cosmo. It just said your auras with Ward are weapons.
Yeah. If they wanted to be more vague than Ward ones, they could literally just put in a no Spectra clause.
They wanted you to play Ward auras in that deck. But, yeah.
But I guess they do give a different lever if they don't use Ward, if they don't use Spectra. They just have another lever, and then you'd say that levered aura, whatever that keyworded aura is a weapon, right? They just do the same thing with Cosmo again. If they find a new way to do it.
Yeah. I don't know. We've done this a while ago when Jesse was on the show at one point, so I don't know the episode number off the top of my head, but it's back there.
Go back and watch every episode and tell us which one. Actually, weirdly, you can start thinking about the next question, but weirdly with like AI and the fact that they have created transcripts and dubs for every single thing on YouTube, you could just kind of like, if you find it kosher, type into an AI. What was the episode of Pit Against where they talked about this? And it will just tell you. Because it's technically written on the internet and the AI would just immediately find it.
Yep.
So.
Okay. If you can't beat fatigue, you don't understand the game. I'm going to put an asterisk on this one immediately.
Okay.
Assuming there is a way to beat that fatigue deck.
That's a good asterisk, actually. That's a really good asterisk.
There is nothing inherent in any of this game design that there is the solution to the problem.
Yes.
Just that there is the problem.
Yes. And we've dealt with the fact that there are just problems without answers before. So,
yes. In just like every aspect of this game, like you can find problems that don't have solutions, which is like the most fundamental one is like you're looking for a card that you want to put in a deck, and there just isn't a card that checks the boxes you need because they haven't made it. Whether they are aware of that possibility or not, that card just may not exist, and you may not be able to fix the deck in the way you want. Like, assuming there is a solution, to beating a fatigue deck or a fatigue plan, it's up to you to do it. Like,
it's like people who want to play, what's it called? The new Earth Sprout card?
doubling season? No.
Nah, the pump.
Sprout strength?
Yeah. What if I wanted to play that and Amplifying Arrow? I don't have an Earth Ranger.
Yeah.
That's
fundamentally,
yeah. Fundamentally, yeah. It's always funny in Magic because in Commander it feels like there's every card in the world, and you're like,
because
surely
the game is 30 years
yeah,
old.
Yeah. And there's like
probably is
200,000 different cards, and you're just like, surely they have an enchantment that says exactly this.
They might have 10 cards that do the exact thing you want.
I want an aura Flesh and Blood Brain. I want an enchantment that says I discard a card at the start of my turn. There's probably like two. Like
there's
probably like two. So
in some form, it might also say you draw a card if you do. But
yeah. So I mean,
I mean, I think that is just true. Like, assuming there is a solution. It's up to you to. It's up to us to figure out if there is a solution and what it is, and then two, just implement it. Fatigue is a very straightforward game plan to play into, generally speaking, and it's a very predictable game plan. You know what they're going to do.
I think this one had a number of comments on the comment.
It only had one other besides yours.
So two.
And it was Mara's response, which is just fatigue isn't bad for the game, but the skill required. The skill check from fatigue decks, it's harder to play against them than it is to play them. Which, like, sure.
I think those are closer together than Mara was picturing it, in my opinion.
I generally agree. It is the ceiling on fatigue decks has gotten a lot, or the skill entry for fatigue decks has definitely gotten higher as stuff has gotten removed. Like Crown of Seeds being removed is a big one. Rampart becoming less free because of that is also important.
The Pallades deck that basically looks like a control deck from Pokemon where you got a billion one-ups and you're trying to like snipe the win condition from your opponent.
Yep. It's actually a very skill-intensive fatigue deck.
Yeah.
And like I respect that. Mm-hmm. But that might actually be one where I think both players, if they don't know what they're doing in that matchup, are going to underestimate how hard it is to play that matchup from either side.
It's actually interesting, like where a lot of aggro decks, I feel like you play like a few games, or some aggro decks you play a few games and you're like 80% of the way there. I feel like with this Pallades deck, you probably play like five games and you're like, I see why this card's in here. Or if you think about the heroes in the meta, you're like, okay, this card makes sense.
This one card.
Yeah, this
you're
one
not even
card
through the entire 80.
But it's like you're like, I think I get these, oh cool, I make toughness tokens off of this this clash, and then you think, and then you play like 5 games and you're like, oh, I'm fixing the top of my deck when I do it. And it's like, you're finding a few more layers, and I think you can get pretty okay with the deck pretty quickly. But
yeah,
I think skill ceiling is actually pretty interesting, and the floor exists with that as well. So I don't know. My comment was a old Go proverb that was controversial to some people, which is, if you don't know what a ladder is, don't play Go. And I think the basis of that quote is like, all right, just do a little bit of like research before you dive in it. Yeah, do some legwork, like a little bit. Don't find out in a game about this weird way to just lose the game. I'm not going to go through explaining what a ladder is, but
it's a very basic kind of concept to look at, which would roughly be the equivalent of, if I swing hammer for 4 every turn, and so if they get rid of 4 cards every turn and I get rid of 3 cards every turn, what's going to happen if they can't kill me?
Yeah. And so like the legwork in this case, the learning how to deal with ladders in this case is the aggro decks swinging their weapon as often as possible, playing 5-card hands.
Damage stacking.
Yeah.
Playing the maximum value per card out of deck is the baseline you go to.
How many cards your opponent can play out of hand on their turn. Like
Yep.
Sometimes you'll just give them extra cards to work with and not hit them.
Give them a 5-card hand and see what they do.
Yeah,
Probably
exactly.
not much more than if they had a 3-card hand.
And then they play Righteous Cleansing. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of true, but it's also like the latter quote. It's a little controversial because it's like, bro, come on, you're learning the game.
People don't
it's a
like
little
being
harsh, but
called out for that.
Yeah,
but at
yeah.
the same time, it is just true.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like
If we're looking at this competitively, it is just true.
Even non-competitively, you'll figure it out. But if you don't think about it or you don't look into it, it's going to take a lot longer for you to figure it out.
Yes.
And you'll be frustrated. You'll be frustrated the whole time. Yeah, it's not going to be as fun. I find playing against some fatigue decks really interesting because it's, all right, they're the brick wall. Can I get through it? What can I do to get through it? What are they throwing at me? What wrenches do they have? But depends on the deck.
Yeah. A little bit.
A little bit. And
okay.
Nice tool.
Metafy guides are bad for the game.
I think. Okay, so we'll start with. In theory, like in just like plain concept, it can't be. It has nothing to do with the game. It doesn't affect the game unless you let it. But humans are humans. Yes. We live in a society.
Sure.
That
you
aside,
can't take it in a vacuum.
Outside of that's the word I was looking for. Outside of a vacuum.
Yeah.
Probably not.
So I want to add a little bit of nuance.
Okay.
So there's a couple ways that I can take this question, which is I want to change this from Metafy guides to paid content.
Okay.
Is bad for the game. Because there's 3 camps you can be in when I look at this, which is you have paid content but no free content. You have free content but no paid content, and you have both.
Are you talking about like the community as a whole?
The community as a whole.
Creator? Okay, community as a whole. That makes more sense.
Which
okay.
Then it's up to the content creators to like be a part of whatever model they want to have. I don't think paid content is inherently bad for the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think a game without free content, though, is going to be significantly worse off.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think this is... I think this point, from the way stuff has kind of been trending, this is less about there being paid content as a lack of free content on whatever they're looking for. Because there aren't a lot of deck techs or guides or anything like that that's free right now. Everything is trended heavily towards paid content.
Especially more competitive focus.
Yes, and it's because people want to get something, and I want to give this asterisk as somebody who does have paid content, but with the asterisk of everything that you pay for is also for free on YouTube, because that's what I want to be doing, and that's what I want in the community. You're not going to make enough money to make a living off of Fab.
Yet.
It's
almost a hesitant yet, because it's like, how
so
long till we get there? Like,
we're so
far away.
The community has to be 10 times bigger, at least.
Or more. Yeah.
Or more. Yeah. Price your guides accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
You're not trying to make a living off of this guide. You're trying to get a little bit out of it for the work you're putting in.
You know what it
is? I respect that so much because I put so much time into this, and I'm not getting a lot of money back per hour worked, but I'm also not only getting the cash out of Metafy, out of the work that I put in.
Yeah.
But understand, content creators, that we are not at a level where you're going to make a living off of this. It's just not there yet. Because of that, consider making some of it free.
Yeah.
Because that a community that only has paid content is worse off than any community that has any free content. Just flat out.
Yeah. So I was gonna look at this from like two more perspectives. One, I forgot about. The other one is okay, so here's the thing. Little Bit is finding pencils really tasty. Or at least interesting toys. So I can't
they're great to chew on.
I can't take notes during the show. Because if I pull a pencil out, he's on top of me. So the other point that I do remember is, in the same way we can't view just Metafy's affecting the whatever in a vacuum, we can't view we don't live in a world where it's like there's all paid content or it's all free content, or we have to live in a mix of both. And also something about like psychological, economical, someone's going to find that it is worth the time or someone's going to find that there is a space, there's a gap, or there's interest for free content that is the amount of effort they're willing to put in, right? Like,
sure.
If there's no free content, someone's going to be, or on a specific subject, someone will eventually be like, well, no one's talking about this for free. I'm not going to break my neck over doing this, but I'm going to make something really quick and I can throw it out there for free. In like a weird, like free market, there's a gap in the, what people are looking for and someone fills it.
Yes.
And it's more nuanced than that, because it's not really about the money.
The chance of a niche being filled scaling up with community size as well.
Yes.
And I don't think our community is big enough for us to reliably fill some of those niches.
Yeah. I think it definitely works for some of them, though, right? Like the larger niches. If someone wants to see a deck tech on Verdance, which is a very popular
generic gameplay videos.
Yeah, or generic gameplay videos. Like, I mean, like, people will realize, well, there's none of this free stuff out here for this. I can slap something together really quickly that I'm like mildly proud of and put it out there, and that kind of fills that spot a bit. And that's just how it's going to work a little bit. You're right, it does scale with community size, but like in that sense, I think assuming you could maybe, it's weird because when you put a price on it, it's kind of like an expectation for, if someone wants this particular knowledge you have, they pay for it. But if you put everything behind that paywall and then someone puts some of it not in front of that paywall, then you're making people pay for something they can already find or something like that. Like, I think you need to be doing something particularly valuable to put it behind money, because if it's not of a certain value, it's just going to show up for free somewhere else. Someone else will figure it out, determine it's not really worth anything, and then put it out there for free.
Sure.
Deck lists is a big one.
Yeah,
I mean, LSS just puts out deck
something.
lists.
Yeah, LSS puts out all the top 8 ones for just on their website. Mm-hmm. I have whatever Prism list I'm playing is in all of my recent videos, and up for free as a link on Metafy, just as a place for me to keep a record of all of them and for people to reference past ones.
That's why I think great use for paid content in Flesh and Blood is probably just coaching sessions, because it's very specific.
Yeah.
It's you and that person whose brain you want to pick. Like, that's so hyper specific that being behind a paywall makes more sense.
For sure. I'm never going to
my top 8 PQ Marionette deck list is not quite $20 worth. $5
not just a
worth
PQ
even.
top 8 by itself.
Yes. Plus, if you do any amount of good with it, LSS is going to post it for free on their website too. So, all right.
Yep.
I don't think. Okay, back to the main point. I don't think Metafy guides. What was it? Are bad for the game?
The exact wording is Metafy guides are bad for the game.
I don't think they're bad for the game. I don't think the person
No.
who said that is probably thinking they're necessarily bad for the game, because I think we live in a market where you don't feel compelled to use them.
Yes.
In order to get any kind of advantage in Flesh and Blood, but sometimes they're nice. Sometimes you need a little shortcut, I guess. But
yeah, I don't know. That one was. I want to put an asterisk on that one because like there is a place where it's like it would be bad, but it's not like.
The asterisk is the asterisks that Kevin gives is the. Would you like to elaborate that more if they came onto the show? They're like, well, but. Which I like. I'm into it.
Also, Clark, I'm kind of with you. Just
complaining.
You don't have to buy a Metafy guide.
Are more annoying than a Metafy guide. Yeah, you don't have to buy them. It is funny when you see some that are like obviously overpriced, and then people are buying them, and you're like, brother, what are you doing? You don't have to buy collector boosties.
That's up to you. Yeah.
All right, next one.
Yeah. I want to save the big one for like last-ish.
Sure.
Warrior players are the most dishonest about their class in the entire game. Every set, I see them compare their cards' value to other classes as if their cards aren't stapled onto sip weapons with a massive fridge. They ignore consistency entirely when determining card value.
So I'm not thinking about any person in particular because I don't watch any Warrior content. So I don't know what people are exactly saying, but I can fully imagine.
Watch Josh Lau?
No, I don't.
Wow.
Josh Lau's great though. I do. I've watched a couple of things from him. I don't watch everything, but I can imagine like let's pretend there's a warrior card that's like it costs 2, target weapon gets +5 in red.
Sure.
That with Dawnblade is a 2-card 8.
Yep.
But in a vacuum, it's like, oh, this is
I have
just
to pay 2 for my +5 react.
Yeah. In a vacuum,
and then I have to pitch another card to do something else.
It's zealous belting. In a vacuum. But then when you pair it with your weapon, it's 1 card out of deck for a 2-card 8. In a vacuum, it's zealous belting. What it is a whatever that brew card is. The freaking
Wild Ride?
No. The 2 for 8. Well, they got a couple of them now. Swing Big, yeah. In a vacuum, it's zealous belting. What it is Swing Big. It's 1 card out of deck and it's dealing 8 damage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like it's
a little different, but yeah.
I think the best example is the dual wield warriors who just like they very consistently have that 8 or 9 value off of 1 card out of deck and 2 cards in hand, which is just red Blade Runner. You swing for 2 into 5, you reset dynamos, and that's your 8 value.
Yeah, that's really good.
That's great. Plus,
your weapons on board say 2 cost 4 damage. That's right or wrong.
Assuming they don't block.
Yeah.
And if they do block, you're probably getting extra value on them. And then your dynamos are covering breakpoints, which allows you to block better and take the game longer. Like
you're covering breakpoints while giving them weird breakpoints.
Yeah. They're just it's
2
Dory's a little bit weird.
Yeah.
Dory's a little bit weird with Dawnblade because the cost curves start getting weird of when do you actually have because there isn't that 2 for 5 for Dory with Dawnblade.
No.
There's 1 for 3s, which start getting weird. But
also
a blue and 3 1 for
weird,
3s is a 4-card 12.
Hand restrictions.
Yeah. So like you get weird stuff with like that, but like I think warriors are take more issue with having to have had dealt with wizards this entire time.
Yeah.
Which has always been the Achilles heel of the warrior class.
Wizards are rough. Okay, buddy. It's these like non Flesh and Blood heroes, right?
Yeah, it's any hero that breaks the math.
Too, Right? Yeah. Here's that break the math. In a class that wants to play math, they want to play Flesh and Blood.
Yeah.
And they want to beat you at Flesh and Blood.
And they play math really well.
They actually do.
Really well.
They know it.
Yeah.
It's so
and
good.
They're just upset that people don't want to play their game. When they have like the most insane math in the game, if they're getting to play their game, they're like unrivaled.
You're playing Cammy and you dash in and Zangief grabs you and you're like, oh, that's just bull crap. And you're playing Cammy and you dash in, but Dawson punches you from the other side of the map and you're like, oh, that's bull crap. And it's like, you want to play your game, but also like weirdly they just want to play their game, right? Flesh and Blood to Wizards is Flesh and Blood, but it just looks really different. So
no, I think most of the complaints from okay, Warrior has two complaints. It's dealing with Wizard and not getting cards that support their exact Warrior that they want to play.
I also think it's like Warriors don't have the big flashy power cards because they're numbers decks normally.
Not in the same way.
Not in the same way.
Well, except for Lumina Ascension.
But even Lumina Ascension, Raise an Army,
Sabers, Lumina Ascension.
I just mean like they have
Lumina Raiden.
No, I mean
Lumina Sabers is a big flashy combo.
Lumina,
OTK.
what did I say? Lumina, whatever. Lumina, Raise an Army, and
Blood on Our Hands.
Blood on Our Hands. Like they have some of these, but they're very like gate kept to hero, like a very specific hero, and there's not like class cards that are Blood Rush Bellow.
Yeah.
Or
well, it's funny because you never hear Warrior players complain more than when they print Warrior cards that are not for their Warrior.
Bolton did really well in this more recent set. Bolton and Hala got cards, and we don't even know what Hala does yet.
Yeah. And then like it was we got Fang in Hunted, and none of the Warrior players were happy because it didn't support Dory or Katai.
I don't care about. I'm playing Dory. I'm playing Dawnblade. So like,
they get a whole new Warrior to play, but they're completely all the Warriors are like very insular in that regard. Of like, there are Dawnblade decks, there are DGA decks, there are dual wield decks. There's Fang is its own deck. Bolton Raiden is its own deck, and there's no overlap between any of them.
Which is a little,
or there's very little
disingenuous because a lot of classes are like that. I think.
Yes, this is a Flesh and Blood problem, which actually I kind of want to get into on the next one. Yeah. But I think Warrior players complain about one thing and they ignore the other stuff that they do have that is kind of good going on.
What was the original take again?
Are the Warrior players are the most dishonest about their class the entire game. Every set, see them compare their cards' value to other cards as if their cards aren't stapled onto sip weapons with a massive fridge.
I think if you're talking about class specifically and not like hero specifically, probably actually.
It doesn't. They don't. I don't hear Warrior players talk about turn math the same way.
Yeah.
When their weapons are ludicrously efficient when you're playing more than one card hands.
Yes. Also, it's at reaction speed, which needs to be brought
also
up more.
Something.
Reaction speed is gross.
Yeah.
Assassins are better than Warrior?
Are better Warriors.
Okay. Assassins are better Warriors is Guardians are better Brutes. And then they gave Brutes on hits. And they were like, Brutes can now deal with a archetype, which was mostly aggro, that they couldn't before. Warriors were... I mean, Dawnblade was already fairly anti-aggro. I don't know what...
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, it's... The thing that all the Warrior players complain about is like, well, we don't have meaningful on-hits, and Assassin has meaningful on-hits.
They do have meaningful on-hits. Assassins also have zero-cost reactions, which is something...
And then Warriors are like, how do we get people to interact? And it's like, well, you're a Warrior. Everything is technically face-up when you're fighting a Warrior. You see their sword. It's just there.
It's right there, and they're going to throw it at you, and it's going to hurt. And that's like another thing. It's like you don't have assassins known for not having any value in their deck. Marionette is weird because his daggers have value.
Yeah.
The other ones are like,
but also still less value than any warrior weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. That was interesting and I think good. Actually, Clark, I'm curious on your thought because this will probably take us all the way through.
Hits as opposed to disruptive on hits. They do have a lot of proactive on hits actually. Value based.
Yes. Okay. Completely ending support for at least a couple of classes and a few talents would be hugely beneficial for the game in the long run, even if it would cause a lot of backlash in the short term. Short of it is they fear LSS is spreading themselves too thin with how many different factions they are trying to support while adding more frequently as of late. If they keep adding or keep doing the 2-2 splits for draftable sets, supporting a max of 6 classes per year, pen style supplementary sets and armory decks can add more. Armory decks mastery packs should be more for reprints than expanding the card pool. The risk is you end up with a situation where each class only gets a real support injection every 2 years or even less frequently, which then starts getting frustrating for players who want new cards for their class/heroes. Talents obviously add even more permutations you need to consider. I also think focusing on a smaller spread of classes along with few core talents would allow designers to build more unique heroes and playstyles within those classes, which would also help your cards stay relevant since there's more options in your class if someone LLs. To sum that up, less classes and talents means more overlap between everything, which means your cards stay relevant for longer, hold their value for longer, and it's easier for LSS to manage and easier for LSS to support everything. And this is probably the best way I've heard someone put hero bloat or roster bloat, because as we were just saying, every hero within a class is relatively insular.
Yes. That was
they
actually
don't share card pools.
That was going to be a bit of my pushback. Is like, well, LSS doesn't support classes; they support heroes.
Yeah,
and so like they're looking at a metagame and they're like, all right, well we're gonna like, we know the metagame is probably, they're not gonna say this out loud. We know the metagame is like at most these 15 heroes. It's probably closer to these 10 heroes. We're just gonna look at them and see what they need for this meta.
Yeah. Or, well, I mean, any draft set is, we're designing these heroes. What do these heroes need?
Yes.
And it has nothing to do with...
And some of your Majestics are for CC. Like...
Yeah.
Can't.
But... I don't know. I thought that was interesting, and this feels like a very Magic player take of there's 5 colors and you have your crossovers where you don't just have mono red or mono black, you also have red black.
Yeah. It's
which
like
efficiently pulls aspects of both of them.
That was the other point I was going to bring. It's like, what if Magic was just like, Rakdos is like, okay, so they had a Rakdos problem like late last year.
Yeah.
And it's like, what if they were just like,
I thought that was 2 years ago.
However long ago. They were like, if you have black cards in your deck, you can't have red cards in your deck.
Just split the color pie at that intersection.
Yeah, you can't put those two together anymore. Just call it there.
I mean, did they functionally do that with Fang? Where you couldn't put warrior cards in his deck? You had to only put the draconic cards or the dagger cards?
Basically. But it's not like saying that, like, for the entire metagame, you can't play warrior class cards.
Sure, but then how much crossover does Fang have with other warriors?
If you ask some people, Glint. It's like maybe some of the equipment, right? So game is going to feel too same most of the time. That's why we had the last banning, says Tim.
So I think half the issue with that is inherent to Flesh and Blood design of it is a numbers game at its core. And you're gonna play the decks that do the best numbers. It's why Sage is gonna look like Sage. So it
Well,
is going to be So however,
Sage has been feeling better. That's
my
all I'm going to say, but go ahead.
Sage has been feeling better. And my other asterisk to that is we have had formats where multiple aggro decks were viable at the same time,
That's a good point. Oh, that's
which
so
is
good.
it's not common for that to happen.
Arguably right now, too.
Um, yes. Right now is close, but I still think the best example of this was when we had Zen Aurora Viscerai.
Yeah, there. Oh, that was like such a good example of exactly that. I think in this meta, you could arguably, you'd be like, okay, when someone brought, Bolton, Acilio, Marionette, Dio, Phi, and like, there's a chunk, and they're not all S tier. There's a chunk of
Yeah.
aggro decks in the meta, and they all attack the game in different ways, and they get hit against other decks
Mhm.
in different ways. But um, that's a good point about the aggro decks.
Yeah. So like they LSS still has to continue to find design space, and Tim referring to the last banning where we lost Spinneret went to red only, Brand with Cinderclaw and Wrath of Retribution were gone, Rootbound Carapace was gone. Rootbound Carapace was one of the best cards just in every Earth hero, flat out. So losing that affected all the Earth heroes and kind of splintered Earth as a talent. Because
Stopped
even
feeling
the
like
game
Earth
plans,
decks. It started feeling like there's Yarrow, and then there's Florian, and then there's Vertex. Like
yes,
they're three heroes as opposed to one talent.
yes. Um, which when if you took some of those metagame graphs and you just combined Florian and Verdance, that starts to look like a much bigger share of the pie if we only had Earth. Now, I think to the poster's credit, there's more ways they can explore within those combinations. I mean, the difference between Phi and Syndra, while still both being Draconic Ninjas and having a decent amount of overlap, there's also a decent amount of stuff they just don't overlap on, while still being Draconic Ninjas and utilizing that card pool.
They break the game in different ways. Phi gets a
Yes.
free chain link every turn. Syndra gets
Yes.
a free I hit you every turn.
A free Flick Knives
free
every
Flick
turn,
Knives
which
every
by
turn.
itself is its own
It's huge
like
in
design
a
problem.
completely different design. It's fair, but
Yeah.
it is very
A
different.
problem they have managed relatively well.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, but it is a design problem you have to look at and be like, that's just Flick Knives. But
What was another facet that he brought up? Because I feel like we tunneled a little bit. Because I liked the way you worded it. We're kind of eviscerating it, but I don't think that's entirely true. I think what he said is really interesting, actually.
yeah, if they keep doing 2-2 splits for draftable sets, so Rosetta style draft sets,
It's a good draft
you're
set.
only able to support a max of 6 classes per year. Yeah,
What if that's okay?
in the draft sets.
In the draft
And
sets.
that's where mastery packs come in,
Expansion
and that's where
sets.
expansion slots come in and armory decks
Yes. Yeah.
come in. Which is what they've been trying to do, but at the same time, this is going to be the vast majority of the support for your game is from these released sets, and they are going to be focused into a certain portion of your game. And if they're only hitting each set is only hitting 20% of your game, you're going to move things very slowly, as we've seen from High Seas into Super Slam. Hunted didn't move a ton outside of adding the hunted heroes. Nobody else got a ton of support. You added the hunted heroes, but you just added to you just like stuck the piece onto the end of the meta. You did not do anything to move the rest of the meta up at all, or sideways.
I feel like you could always just increase the amount of LL points and just use it as a lever to like keep whatever heroes or whatever.
I mean, yeah, they just
balance,
did that by putting the multipliers.
Yeah. And so like here's the thing is I think at the core of this, we don't have a problem yet, and so it doesn't need to be fixed.
Not quite.
And
I think Penn is them addressing that problem right when it needed to happen.
Oh, okay.
Or just after, where it's like it. So they were struggling to give real support to every class at the same time, even with the expansion slots, even with Super Slam having like 30 expansion slots.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were just like, no, we're just going to drop a full set. We're going to give everything a wave of support. We're reinventing the ice talent. Earth is going to get a bunch of stuff. Lightning gets, like, all the elements are getting stuff. And then all the talents get stuff. All the classes get stuff. And we're just going to dump a wave of support into the entirety of the metagame, is what they're trying to do. And it essentially timed it for right after this ban list where stuff had stopped moving.
Mm-hmm.
Or not had stopped moving, but they'd had a couple sets that didn't really affect the metagame. And I don't think this set, like, moves the metagame a ton, but it just kind of, like, brings everything up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of like...
It's putting decks into the spotlight. Bolton,
yeah.
Phi.
And they've already said that they're going to do this every once in a while.
Yeah.
Every couple years. And that's fine. I think that's right where it should be, and that fixes, like... That helps this issue of draft sets being limited to supporting what is... The issue of draft sets primarily supporting the classes that you are drafting.
I guess it's also, like... We now know that the tool of Armory decks is to get people into the game. They are not using Armory decks to move the meta, now that I've thought about it a little more.
Yes, it is
generally
not their primary
They have been
intent.
pulling punches on these Armory decks.
Yeah.
Because they could have... I mean, you have to come up with cards, go through the whole design process, print them all, but imagine if some of these Bolton cards that we've been seeing all showed up in the Armory deck.
Oh, Bolton would have been pushed way before.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, that's, I don't think, the point of these Armory decks. Like how I think most of Dio's support still definitely came from her draft set. Definitely all of her cards, but like...
Yes, the only exception her, being processor.
Yeah, and so she got basically an expansion slot out of the Armory deck, and that's almost an exception because most of the Armory decks aren't like that.
Agreed.
So, in that sense, they're
do you
really
want me to
only
grab Clark because I think he wants to.
Yeah, he can. Yeah. I think we're wrapping that up, and I'll finish this take myself. You're good. And so like the, we just yank him in. We know who this is.
Yep.
And so, all right, I'll finish it up right now. So I think the way that they're moving the meta is with bans, LLing, adding new heroes in, draft sets, and this expansion set, which seems to be like a once everything. Like they have a lot of levers, I think, at this point.
Yes.
Also, I'm biased. I really like Flesh and Blood, and so I have a hard time seeing like, oh, this meta sucks because I want to play it anyways. So, we got a caller. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Clark. I'm calling from Cypress, California, and I'm here to talk about the meta.
You want to talk about this topic in particular, right?
Well, a Smurph wanted to talk to me, I think, right? At the beginning of
you
all
posted
this,
it.
Yeah. I throw something in there so that you'd have something from me.
He's like, put me on the show.
Yeah. I wrote up, there isn't an issue with how many classes talents we have, but a lack of imagination / a game design skill in printing them all. Which is
wild.
Clark hot take. Super aggressive.
Super
really
aggressive.
And then
I love it.
Immediately walking it back because, like...
No. So,
hard.
like, also, like, so the Bluesky take we got from...
Yeah.
What's their name? That take, I was talking about before the show. It's like, listen, guys. Go to Bluesky right now. If you want to ever be on this show, go to Bluesky right now. Read the whole take. It's well thought out.
Yeah.
And it's more than one line, but it has an elevator pitch.
Like it's like 7 posts.
It's 7 posts that each line is not a repeat of the previous line. Like, they're all different thoughts and topics.
Yep.
Ways to expand on the conversation. But then also there's an elevator pitch. Like, in one sentence, in 4 words, you could say the whole thing. So, like, that is a perfect hot take. Clark is also really good at making hot takes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going a little bit more counter here,
Sure.
right? To what I think it's.
I get it.
is
You want
saying,
to
this
fight a
guy.
guy while he can't
Yeah.
be on.
Yeah. But I think if you even go to 2 years ago, I'd be actually in agreement. But they have created so many more ways of actually printing support for classes and heroes in a way that feels genuine and nice. Now, one thing that I've felt for a very long time is that a lot of these are just majestics. It's a single card at a time. It's a drip feed. And I don't think the Flesh and Blood community responds well to that. But does that mean that it's bad? Not necessarily.
I do. I like it.
All right, sweet. We got one fan. That's awesome. But like the feeling of like we need some common and rare support is really meaningful, and I would say that a lot of the times it doesn't. It usually isn't just one set that makes a difference for a class. It is a shift in the design philosophy that you see over time. Like Brute feels fixed. Even though I still don't think Brute is strong, Brute feels so much better to play and brew and design with
It
what
feels
they've given
whole.
us across
Yeah,
Super Slam.
that's a good way to word it.
And Compendium.
They're different now than they were, and it feels like they got the pieces they needed. That doesn't feel like what I was worried. One thing they would do with Brute is make a Guardian 2, and I don't think they did that.
No. I mean, discarding is still important. Randomness is still present. Never going to go away. But now we actually feel like we have the density of yellow 6-powered attacks
like,
that aren't just reincarnate and pack call.
In a lot of the decks, they feel like value plays a big part of the game, but also big attacks. So in that sense, they can have a lot of good value turn over turn with like go again big attacks, which is fairly unique to the class. And then neat random ways, not unlike Chaos, to like generate your value. Tough Nut having to pitch cards off the top. KO needing to probably play a random discard in order to get his hero ability. Rhinar as well. So
yeah, there's it still feels very Brute. It feels distinct from all the other classes, but like LSS also realized, just give us blue 6s. You can do that. You can do that, and it won't ruin everything. They had to make sure that it was designed in such a way that it couldn't get abused with Bloodrush Bellow, right? They couldn't print 4-cost, 6-power, 3-block blue Brute at the bottom with no other text. That was not printable. They had to get creative with it, but that's kind of why I'm saying this is about design more so than anything else.
I think I like the idea of they basically have picked a number of the amount of 6-block or 6-power blues you could have in a deck, and it's like 9 for most of them. At this
right
point.
now it's 6 for Bloodrush Bellow Brutes.
Okay.
And then you can get to 9 through the Rockyard Rodeo. And then Tough Nut especially has access to an extra.
Yeah, Tough Nut's got a bunch of them.
Because he has the Reviled.
KO has a bunch of them.
Blue 6.
RKO has... Yeah, I guess RKO just has 6, right? And then...
It matters
Rhinar
a bit
has
less for RKO,
9?
who I...
No, he has 6. It matters less for
has
RKO.
6 unless he runs Rock.
Nah. No, that's a tough nut card. The other point to that, I forgot. All right. Yeah, Brute feels more well-rounded now, and to get back to the point of game design, okay, yeah, that's what it was. So like, things that really reinvigorate classes is not necessarily the Majestics. Most of the time, it's the commons and rares, the base in which the deck sits on, right? And in Flesh and Blood specifically, you're not having, outside of Assassin, mid-range decks like in Magic, where every card is a mythic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have role players in your deck. And if you want to, we were talking earlier about how a design restriction or I forgot exactly why we brought it up. A deck restriction could be that you wanted a card for your deck and it just doesn't exist. Briar in Sage right now can feel like that, where it's like, I just want a 0-for-4 with Go Again or a 0-for-3 non-attack action. And I am fighting to find enough to put in the deck. Every time we play the deck, we're like, man, I hate Flittering Charge. And then you go to look at your options again, and you're like, I guess I'll put this one in. And then you put in Skizix, and then you draw it on a turn, and you're like, I hate Skizik. And you're just like, you don't quite have the full card pull, which is probably good for that very specific scenario. But like, if you're an ice hero and you're like, man, freeze is a really interesting mechanic. I wonder if that like could be a really cool way to like stuff up their equipment, stuff up their arsenal,
don't
stuff
even
up their
get
allies.
me started on
and
the
then
new
they
channel.
Printed. The Earth channel means nothing.
No. Ice Lock Gale, I
ice-
think it is. It's so they print a card for Jarl that the monolith that requires you to have the ability to freeze a non-hero permanent. Then they print a non-hero permanent or a channel card that can freeze non-hero permanents. And you go, sweet, combo. The channel card doesn't have Go Again, and it costs 0. So how do you keep it out for the turn to keep the thing frozen? You have to pitch to something else with Go Again first.
Gloves.
Wait a minute. We play Guardian. Our things don't have Go Again.
No, you play gloves. You activate gloves.
So I'm
and you
supposed to
burn a
activate
whole
gloves
card
for
to it.
0 value.
Mm-hmm.
So I can keep a single channel counter on this, so that next turn I can play a non-attack action card with Go Again and then lose my channel off of it. It's just it looks so awkward and clunky. I'm waiting for LSS to actually make those cards
the thing
playable,
is,
but
the channel isn't for him.
Yeah, it's not.
And so that's where I think if you just had a card, like a non-attack action with Go Again, not a channel, like just a common that said something like something very specific, like it's a 0-cost red Go Again non-attack that says freeze target ally or freeze target arsenal. And if they already printed that card, then I've forgotten about it because I don't care.
They have put on ice for allies specifically, and they have something else that lets you. There's a 1 cost if you play this from Arsenal, draw a card.
But if we had
that
a
also freezes
draft
with Go
set
Again.
for Jarl and his archetype was freezing things, that would. You were talking about, like, it's not actually so much. There's a lack of imagination in game design. I'm sure they're itching to get cards out, but like, where do you put them? If we had a draft set with Jarl or an expansion set like this one, we can just dump a bunch of freeze cards in it.
Well, if I can be critical of LSS, I'm going to echo a lot of the points that my good friend Talon Stradley has said before about Ranger design. And if you look at Ranger as a microcosm of this problem, which makes a lot of sense. We had Outsiders, and then we had High Seas. It was nearly 2 full years, nearly 600 complete days, before we actually got around to another before we saw Ranger in another booster product. during that time, they got plenty of expansion slots and they got armory decks. So they had the drip feed going.
Mm-hmm.
But they still felt like, oh, I need something to revitalize my class.
Okay.
Then High Seas came out, and it had to be about Marlin.
Sure.
And for the limited environment, they reprinted a lot of arrows. And so now all of a sudden, you're kind of looking at Ranger getting the least amount of brand new cards in the High Seas booster product when compared to Mechanologist and Necromancer. Though admittedly Necromancer was Pirate Necromancer, so that needed a lot of individual cards to support. But Ranger, the class, got the fewest amount of class cards in distribution in that set. And so he waited 600 days to finally get his booster product, and then they weren't able to print cards in that product that made a meaningful difference to existing Rangers.
Well, I
mean, that's just the problem of, even though it's a Ranger, it's still not the same deck, and it's just decks being insular. It's the Fang problem for Warriors.
The problem is the class name at the bottom imply an amount of similarity between heroes that I think people assume is greater than it is. Azalea and Riptide are wildly different.
I very much agree.
And so, like, Azalea felt awesome by the time she was leaving. That deck was sick. Riptide has received a lot of interesting cards, and he's very different from when he was first released. It was drip fed. Marlin is the refresher to the class. You just have to play Marlin.
Yep.
You just play.
And that's a lot different than what happened with Brute, where they gave us base class cards that gave us access to Vigors.
Well, I think
they gave us more.
I think
sixes.
Ranger had always had a very good, like, class identity, and all you needed to do was just print more cards for that class identity.
I think right now it's actually probably a little stifled. I think of all the classes that need some fleshing out, I say Guardian is just designed for the past still, it feels like, with their Crush.
Crush sucks.
And Guardian needs a revamp.
Crush
they keep
sucks.
trying to do auras, but we will see if that goes anywhere. We have Rangers, and I think the fact that they are just a little too... I don't know if linear is the right word, but it definitely just feels like they have this problem of not having enough cards to let players find the different archetypes. I'll let Ranger players
I think the class
and then it's Wizards.
I think the class is just like a tempo disruptive class, like Assassin, like Guardian, but it does it in where the on hits are easier to land than in anything else, because Assassin's attacks are all small and you buff them through reaction speed. Guardian cards are limited by the fact that they're like, nah, it's not good unless you have Tower. Nah, it doesn't have an on hit unless you crush them. And so it's like, it's gatekeeped by that. Whereas the gatekeep I think each of those classes have their own gatekeeps, and maybe Assassins is like the easiest to pull off, actually, and maybe that's why people complain about it. But Ranger's gatekeep is the function of the class where you have to use arrows and you have to use bows, and those are clunky.
I think it's actually you. Yeah, I agree with that. Because honestly, it's the having to attack from Arsenal.
Having to attack from Arsenal. Your weapon, you don't actually have a weapon.
It's also a little bit of the Runeblade problem of, like, you have to draw.
Yeah, Runeblade
really
hands
clean,
exist in that very hard. That's 100% true. And so, like, I think if you were just able to make every single card in a deck like CNC, like if a whole deck could be nothing but blues and 2 for 6s that very clearly just say, like, on hit, discard a card, or on hit, disrupt this way. Like, that's oppressive. they put it behind these restrictions of crush or bows or assassin.
Yeah, the whole point is that they're trying to create different game states that make it interesting to play. If everything was just CNC, the the game would be miserable.
Yeah. And so
It'd be the most miserable thing in the world.
I think Ranger has a very clear identity. I like their identity. And Marlin was a cool refresher to the class because it changed the way bows work. But it is just that one hero. So, and then also like Riptide is like, I'm disrupting with D-reacts. I don't know. I push back on it. Class is cool, and there's a bunch of different ways to play it, but the bunch of different ways to play it is not within one deck. That's it. You can't play Fatigue Azalea. You just play Azalea.
Maybe the issue is that class identity and hero identity is a larger jump than what the community actually wants.
Okay.
But then there's another thing to consider with all this, which is why are people upset at the rate of printing cards in the first place? This is probably where Clark takes control of this a little bit more, and you can cut me off if you want to, but
Kevin will
this is
cut
just
you
me
off.
going on my soapbox. Yeah.
I'll let you run with it a little bit. I want to see where this goes.
Okay.
Why are people upset that they're not getting cards? Because they're not winning with the cards they already have.
Oh!
At the end of the day, this is just people at the bottom of the tier list being upset that they're losing.
I want my Betsy Barrel.
At the end of the day, that is it.
I want my Caber.
Like, people who win don't really complain.
And so that's why
Guardian's gotten more cards and more heroes and more ways of putting. They have a massive card pool. They have access to all these talented card pools, and yet we're still clamoring for more cards. It's because it's not actually about the amount of cards you have. It's the fact of can you put together 80 cards that win you games.
That's why Warriors complain. That's why Rangers complain.
It's why Brutes complain.
It's why Brutes complain.
I'm not complaining now. I'll complain 3 months.
It's actually so interesting because like even I know people who play KO Armed and Dangerous. They're not really complaining actually. Because you play the good Brute, you might win some games. If you're playing Rhinar and you're not Dex, if your name isn't Dex and your name isn't Eugene and you're playing Rhinar, you might be there's a chance that the Venn diagram overlaps with avid complainer on the internet because like people don't want to lose, right? So and I kind of get that, but
yeah. And what staves this off is that when you do print a bunch of new cards, the people who play those heroes get to go into the tank, they get to build a bunch of brews, and they get to have hope. And maybe they even start to get results. And then they can win some more games by surprise factor or by maybe the deck actually being just better now. I think that's what happened to Rhinar. I think Rhinar just actually got better.
This is so interesting for me because like
then it starts to run out a little bit. And when it starts to run out, they start to get discontent, and then they have to wait, and they have to wait, and they have to wait. And your drip feed can do a good job of slowing that down. But at the end of the day, you need to provide another, here's 20 new cards. Go do something.
It takes longer to get bored when you're winning.
Yeah.
And I think it actually enters a really interesting like algebraic expression where it's like, okay, so you're losing, and that means you are more likely to complain. If you are complaining about a certain deck, maybe the implication is that deck wins too much. Illusionists win too much.
I mean, there is also a type of player here which I am not including, which is like the wizard or the illusionist, which is I know it's very strong, I know it wins, I know it's frustrating to play against, but where's my hero?
Oh yeah,
Right?
they all LL.
Dromai's been, yeah, they keep LLing and they keep being gone. Runeblade is also kind of in that place, but
Kevin,
I don't
actually,
think you hear those communities complain a lot because they win a lot, and they know that if they complain loudly on the internet, they're kind of gonna get not treated very well when they express those opinions.
The subtitle for this episode is actually Kevin Wellness Check. Kevin, Prism is at like 999 LL points from last time I checked.
870-ish.
870-ish.
Something like that.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I've been here before.
I would like to say I have, and I guess I technically have, but like oftentimes I'll switch heroes before they LL, which is not great. I started on Runeblade, and I swapped over to Guardian before Viserai ever won a game. And then I swapped from Guardian to Assassin around the time Oldham LL'd. So I haven't. I guess I watched New disappear.
Yeah.
Oh well. Clark, have you had love and loss?
I mean, Viserai was like my first CC deck that I spent money on.
Mm-hmm.
Also say that I've had a lot of first decks. Bolton was what I learned the game on. Never that Bolton Blitz deck deserves to be taken out behind the woodshed. Bai was the first like Blitz deck I actually took to an armory. Leviah was the first one I actually built of my own accord, and I brewed my own list.
Bro's played
and
every
then
deck.
Viserai was my first CC deck, so I've had a lot of firsts in this game.
All right.
And Viserai, I was like playing very, very seriously as he LL'd.
All right, so I'm gonna circle all the way back around. The original take, what was it again, Kevin?
This is we need less classes and talents so they can properly support each class and talent.
I think the hot take was that they should delete it. LSS should delete classes for the health of the game so that they can stay a bit more focused.
That is the
which
title.
I think that sounds like a Clark take if I've ever heard one.
I think my final look at that is there's better ways to do it. I think you don't have to delete a class. I think there's just better ways to do it.
You just let the class LL.
Mm-hmm. If there's problems,
then it's done.
LL tends to weed them out.
The vibe that I'm getting from this person, though, is not that it's Illusionist and Runeblade and Wizard that should be
No, this
going.
person seems more level-headed.
This person is like, Guardian should go. Warrior and Brute should go. Mech should go. These classes that cannot win because they can't get the support that is needed and they don't sell like these other classes. I think that's what they're saying.
It's interesting because it's from the perspective of a pro Magic player. So like they don't.
Yeah.
From my understanding, they're just getting introduced to Flesh and Blood, and they're probably just getting introduced to questions or conversations like this. And it's like, I think my interesting take could just get rid of Warrior, just delete that one. Runeblade's a problem, just delete it. Rotating formats. Why do people want to do that so bad? I want my cards to be bad in a year. I want them to reprint CNC, except it says discard a card or something, and I have to buy that, and now my CNCs are worth $2. Thank you so much for reminding me that I hate rotation. Where can people find you? Something. I don't have my notes pulled up.
People can find me on Bitch It To Me podcast.
Heck yeah.
We have a nice episode coming out Tuesday with BIOS update. It was a very good time to record.
Sick. I love BIOS update.
He was a wonderful, wonderful guest host. He needs to get on here. He needs to get on this show.
That's on him.
I don't know if he can
bro.
do a hot take.
Get up here. Yeah, actually, that's a good point.
He's very nice and even-headed, and comes in with a lot of research. I don't know if he can come in here and.
That's what I need to do. I need to come up with a bunch of curveballs and just start pitching them at him without. It's like does Batman win in this fight? Well, how much prep time does he have? How much prep time do we get to give on these questions to BIOS update? And for this, I think it'd be funniest if the answer was 0. So,
Agreed.
yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We'll catch you next time, right?
Oh, of course. I always love listening in on Thursdays.
Heck yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Good to see you. Bye.
Peace.
I think that about wraps it up. We went over per usual. Anything you want to shout out?
Nah, I'm good.
Oh, yeah? Okay, sick. Remember to go check out our merch at the tailpit-shop.fourthwall.com, where you can get shirts that say things like, we have a new Pittigans t-shirt.
Oh, we do?
I believe it's live.
Okay.
I'm going to double check that it's live. Kevin's going to learn what the shirt says.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's live. The Pittigans call-in shirt that says, what's your name and where you calling from on the front. And then on the back it says, we'll catch you next time. And it's got the logo on it. I love it. I love it.
Sure.
I got paid out recently because got a lot of overtime at work. And I spent $100 on my own merch store just because I'm changing all my shirts out for this stuff. I love it. If you want to help make this stream look nicer and get supplies for our project videos and get sleeves and playmats, the Hawaiian Table Pit sleeves and playmats on Talishar, you can support us over at patreon.com/thetablepit. Anything else? No?
Nope, I'm good.
No, we're good. Thank you so much for watching. We do this every Thursday. We also have No Blocks, a chill Talishar live stream where we do and don't block. Saturday mornings at 9 when we don't have, PQs coming up, RTNs,
Other events,
battle, whatever the new thing is. And also, there's a potential chance that we have a new show coming on. I guess that's just what we'll call it.
Yeah.
New edited
video series.
New video series coming up, featuring Wyatt from No Blocks. Is going to be heading that. So we'll see how that goes. All right, thank you so much for watching. Bye.